All right, so here's day 4. We're gonna do something a little bit different. Um, we had a new assignment up, and basically all the ones previous that we've done with our X factor had a value of 1 for A. So now what happens when A is not 1? Um, we still have A, B, and C, and this is all still the same. This is the whole reason we taught it to you this way. A times C goes on top, and B goes on bottom. So it's now, instead of just the -6 going on top, it's 2 times -6. All the other ones was a 1 times whatever. That's why it just looked like it was just the C value. -11 still goes on bottom, and this process is the same. We need two numbers that multiply to the top and add or subtract to the bottom. Well, once we list our factors and know that we need a negative, negative means different signs. Different signs subtract, keep the sign of the larger one. So we found our answer. Here's where it gets a little bit different. We're going to take this guy right here, this 2, and we'll bring our variable with it. What we're going to do here in red is take our 2x and put it on top of a couple fractions. Now this -12 and +1, where do you think they came from? Well, that was the two numbers we found up here. So instead of just going x minus 12 and x plus 1 previously, now we're going to take the 2x and put it over -12 and 2x and put it over +1. And really all we have to do is reduce a fraction. 2 over 1 does reduce. The problem is we need a fraction. So if I go, oh, this is just 2x, when you FOIL or whatever, it's not really there anymore. So we just, anything over 1, we just leave that way. Also notice that the plus and minus signs, we're going to keep in the bottom, because 2 over 12 reduces to 1x over -6. 2 over 12 is 1/6. I wouldn't put the negative in front. I'd leave it down here at the bottom, because now once we do this, we just read it differently. Instead of a 1x over -6, it's just x minus 6. And instead of 2x over +1, it's just 2x plus 1. This is the only thing different about what we've been doing. Instead of just straight ending it, it's take your 2 and x. Now, I don't want the x squared. The x squared got broken up into x and x. And when you FOIL it back out, 2x times x is the 2x squared. If you forget about it and have like x plus 1, x minus 12, well, the x times x is only x squared, and you need the 2 somewhere. And you can't just throw the 2 anywhere because it messes up everything else. So it has to be done this way. But this, I promise you, is the easiest way to do these. You could factor by grouping, which is what Photomath does, but this is a lot easier because you literally reduce a fraction and you're done. So here's another example, basically the same numbers, but now we have +1 and +12. And again, we take the 2x, and again, just pause whenever if you need to write stuff down. 2x goes on top of both fractions. My 2 answers here on the side go on the bottom of the 2 fractions. This one is just 2x plus 1, and after we reduce it, it's just x plus 6. Now, this one I wanted to point out, I just need to be careful. Those numbers don't work. And I need to make sure I save this. Because 4 times 1, 4 on top, excuse me, 3 on bottom, there's only 2 ways to multiply to 4. None of these add to 3. And I have a lot of people that flip-flop and go, oh, well, maybe it's 1 times 3, because 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 plus 3 is 4. You've got to make sure they're not backwards. And it's very possible for some of these not to factor. Those are just prime polynomials. So please do not use like +1. Like, you don't have to absolutely get an answer. If you're pretty sure that it's prime, let your teacher know and double check, because I have a lot of kids that go, oh, this one was prime. No, it's not. You just stopped at like 4 times something when you needed to get to like 7 or 9 or whatever it is. But anyway, yeah, if the trinomial one cannot be factored, and we were just looking at this one, say so, we would say it's prime. And this one, again, 3 times -8 is -24, 2 on bottom. 6 minus 4 is 2, 6 times -4, and we get it. We just list all the stuff here. The negative on top means different signs, so different signs subtract to the bottom. Take the 3x, excuse me, that was a yawn. 3x divided by both of our answers down here. 3 over 4 doesn't reduce, so we just write it like that. 3 over 6 does reduce, writes like that. And again, you can FOIL to double check. Now this guy was a lot of fun. He wasn't too bad. 5 times 48 was 240, negative 38 goes on the bottom. We got to, well, we found out that we got to get to negative here and a positive here. So I need negative times negative to get positive, which means it was same signs, add and keep. So when we were doing our factors, it made it a little easier. We just got to figure out what adds to 38. 240 divided by 1, 240 divided by 2, 240 divided by 3, divide by 4, divide by 5, divide by 6. We finally found it. Take the 5. I am yawning like crazy. I am so sorry. Take the 5. Put it in the brackets. 5 over 8 does not reduce. 5 over 30 does. Just like that. Not a big deal. If you ever have a negative in the front, whether it's a negative and a number or these negatives kind of ruin this completely. Take out a -1 and change all the signs. Then we can factor. Now, after we factor and after we get done, that -1 we took out has to go back in front. So do not forget about it. Over here is a special case where we're actually missing our middle term, x squared minus 121. This is still a times c on top, but a missing middle term. And if I don't stop yawning, this video is going to be super boring. 0 goes on bottom. Now, negative means different signs, and we got to subtract to 0. If you subtract to 0 with two numbers, they got to be the same. 3 minus 3 is 0. 7 minus 7 is 0. In our case, 11 minus 11 is 0, and 11 times 11 got us the 1. It's called the difference of squares, and we use this a ton. So be on the lookout for these. Anytime you have 0 on bottom, these two sides are going to be the same, but one's positive and one's negative. I'm sorry about all those yawns. Luckily, this video wasn't too terribly long. Your teacher has your assignment.